Ahmedabad in northwest India, only seconds after taking off. But while the investigation into the tragedy continues, many victims have yet to be formally identified, and that left many families in agonizing wait. As lawyer Martin says, the first thing you noticed was the stench. We recognized it instantly. The fetid, slightly sour smell of rotten bodies, of excrement and pungent disinfectant that hung heavily in the air. Just like everyone else, I tried to ignore it, suppress it. But then the wind shifted, and just as I crossed the sterile corridors, there it was again, catching at the back of my throat. It was in one such corridor of the civil hospital that I met Implant Ali. It used to sit that night. Walking, it felt, was a matter of reaffirmation for him. I'm okay, I'm alright, he seemed to be telling himself. A hospital volunteer who had been watching noticed my interest in the family and said I should go talk to him. Some members of his family, niece and nephew, were just holding soup. Terrible it is, he whispered. When I finally mustered the courage to speak to him about I found Mr. Ali surprisingly calm and warm. Mr. Ali, it turned out, was searching for a miracle. His brother Jarvis, along with his wife Miriam and their 2 children, were among the 224 passengers on board the Air India flight that had crashed and burst into flames earlier that day. Rescuers said the aircraft had shattered with so much force that it was hard to tell the pieces apart from human remains. But had not lost hope. He was convinced that there had been a mistake. Perhaps the flight number was different to the one his family was on. Was it even an Air India flight? So when he received a list on his phone from a friend, claiming to be that of survivors, he told me he felt a wave of relief wash over him. Javid's name was on that list. An hour later, he received another list. The same names, including that of Javid. Except, it now said they were all dead. Waiting at the hospital 12 hours later, Mr. Ali said he still wasn't sure what to believe. But until he saw his brother's body, he said he would not grieve. He left the hospital that night with a small smile on his face. He was still hoping for that miracle. But 20 minutes away from the hospital, the charred ruins of home continued to blaze on the ground. Another tragedy was unfolding there. The plane had struck a medical college after it fell from the sky. 40 students had been having their lunch in a hostel when the aircraft pierced through their rooms. None had died. Again, the smell that got to you before anything else. Found and acrid, like someone had set a mountain full of metal on fire. You could see the wreckage, ashen and mangled, with big clouds of smoke rising above. Clearly, it was going to take days, weeks, to clear up the site. So too, with the search for victims, whose lives had been reduced to a number that search teams searched over the moon. In my 3 days there, the same scene played out at the hospital. Wailing families lined up at the hospital. First, to submit their DNA samples, and then to wait for a phone call, for a sign, for anything that said they had found their loved ones and they could now return home. By the second day of the crash, authorities had begun releasing some bodies to the families, passing hope, closure and sight. I wondered if Mr. Ali was among them. It was only on my final afternoon in the city that I found him. He was at the hospital again, working. Mr. Ali had failed to see the bodies of his brother Bravo and his family. And he seemed closer to accepting the truth. He told me how he was trying to decide where to bury his brother, here or in the UK, and how he still hadn't told his mother about their death. So, it's not back to the last. As we spoke, a diabetes man walked by and the smell seemed strange and unbearable. Finally, to Alberta, the Canadian province that borders the Rocky Mountains, last Monday, were left at the G7 summit. The biggest cities, including Japan, Germany, Italy, France, Canada, and the UK, are wondering then Donald Trump decided to leave early as a result of